Hey everybody, welcome back to What's for Dinner. I hope you're doing well tonight. Just remember, if you hear anything tonight and you have any medical questions about it, don't consider it medical advice. Reach out to your highly trained and knowledgeable medical provider, which if you need one of those, you can find on low carb for metabolic health. You can find it on lowcarbusa.org or smhp.org. And for hormones, you can go to worldlinkmedical.com. So let's check out what our low insulin way of eating is tonight. We're going to be working with. So
Look at my apron. Someone sent this to me. Thank you, Georgia.
Yeah, that is so awesome.
It's so fun.
Teresa got a little care package from somebody that we've been talking to for a while and helping out. So anyway, it's super cool.
Yep.
All right. So Teresa, you did eggs tonight.
Yep.
These are store-bought eggs.
Yes.
Got a little cheese in there.
Cheese and butter.
Cheese and butter. And then here's your, oh my gosh, I love this pizza that Teresa makes.
So it's just a thin layer of marinara sauce and mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, and everything bagel seasoning that we get from Rosette's Mix.
Yeah, rosettesmix.com. And my favorites from her are the everything bagel mix and the dough mix that she has, because you can do so many fun things with that dough mix. Yum. All right. And tonight we just did ribeyes on the grill again. Ribeyes and then the fillets are for Teresa. So what I do is I take and baste these with avocado oil. And then I'll go in and I'll coat them with a little bit of Jane's Crazy Mixed Up seasoning. And then also we did a little bit of the hardcore carnivore chili lime seasoning. Now be careful if you do the hardcore carnivore, because some of them, some of the different flavors do have some kind of less than great ingredients like maltodextrin and brown sugar and some things like that. So just be aware of that. This one, the chili lime, is not terrible. And then we have bacon from the air fryer. So, and those look like melting in your mouth almost today.
Yeah, they're good.
All right, what are we going to talk about tonight?
So tonight I just wanted to tell you of a case story. This is exactly how this conversation went. It was a 44-year-old female. I was going over her labs and putting her on hormones for the first time. She's 230 pounds and 5'4". So she came back to go over labs, get on the hormones, and I asked her if anything had changed, which I ask everybody since I saw you last. And she said she had tried low carb. And so first she said, I got really bad bloating. So then I had to explain to her that when you change over from all carbs to heavy meat, you don't have the right probiotics, the gut bugs, to break down those foods. So you go from a fermentation breakdown in the gut to an enzymatic breakdown, and it takes time to work through because you don't just grow those new gut bugs overnight. And then she was still saying, well, but my blood sugar's still elevated. So depending on how ill you are and how sick you are metabolically, it can take a long time to get all the blood sugars down. And especially the morning dawn phenomenon one will take it will be the last one to come down. And then it's really frustrating. So then she said she was extremely tired. And so that is electrolytes. So the first thing I think of with that is you need electrolytes. And then you could take that with a capsule. You could take that with powder. You could take that with just doing straight salt and magnesium. But most of us need electrolytes. And then the other thing is, if you're used to being high carb, when you transition into low carb, your glucose, your glycogen that's circling in your bloodstream will be gone. And then your body's going to have to tap into fat stores. And it takes your body time to re-figure out how to tap in and get all that stuff. So, but again, see, all of these things we can walk through. So I do think most of us need electrolytes. So
yeah. I just wanted to take a quick second to pause here, guys, and just say, if you appreciate what we're doing here on YouTube and or Facebook, if you wouldn't mind, if you're not already, just go ahead and follow us or like us on Facebook and then subscribe to us on YouTube. And anything you guys can do, drop us some emojis, make a comment, smash the thumbs up button or anything like that. That's tremendously helpful. It helps with the algorithms and can help us rank a little bit higher on those two platforms. So we appreciate it. And we love you guys for doing that.
Yes.
So
then she said, what about, I've only lost 5 pounds. So after this, this has been about a week, she kind of gave up and went back to the old way. So 5 pounds, I think, is pretty good in 10 days. And it depends on how metabolically sick you are to reverse all of that stuff. It can take quite a while. I told her we should not ever be using the scale. We should be using clothes, how our clothes fit, and measuring like your waist, your hips, your arms, and all that. So, and everyone wants to know how long. It just depends. It just depends on a lot of different things. But at the end, this is what she says to me. It is interesting. Now I only eat 2 meals a day. I only eat 2 times a day. I'm just not hungry.
Yep.
So all those negatives, But we do have this one thing where now you're consciously or unconsciously just not eating as much because you're eating better foods.
Yeah.
Now, the thing she has going against her, number one, is low hormones, her age. So even at 44, that is something that can go against you. And then this is the big one, resistance training. We've got to all start resistance training. As you age, and by age, I only mean 30 years old, you start to lose muscle mass at an exponential rate. So 8%, about 8% a decade. You either have muscle mass or fat mass. Okay. If you lose muscle, it's going to be replaced with fat, the end. The more fat you have, the more insulin resistant you are, and the more you lower your resting metabolic rate. So your metabolism lowers. And then every time you put in fat over that muscle, because we don't work out, you're going to be adding insulin resistance, lowering your RMR, and gaining more weight. So people could actually go on hormones and change your diet. But if you're not building muscle, you're still going to be at a disadvantage. It still won't be well-rounded.
That's where people get into trouble with the yo-yo dieting. So like the Weight Watchers and the Jenny Craig, you hear it all the time. Oh, so-and-so lost 30 pounds on, last month on the last few months on, whatever the flavor of the diet you're on.
Yeah.
And they end up losing weight initially, but the problem is they're losing muscle along with some of the fat. And they're not measuring their body composition to make sure they're maintaining that muscle. And because they're lowering all their macros across the board, some of that's protein. And so they're going to lose some muscle mass. Then what happens is they come off the diet. And then, after a period of months or years go by, they end up putting it all back on. But when they put it on, they put nothing but fat back on.
Right.
Then they go on it again, another yo-yo diet, and they do it again. So we've seen people who have gone on these yo-yo diets over the course of a decade, and they've done 3 or 4 of those, and they're way worse off at the end of 10 years than they were when they began.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
And let me clear it up. So when I'm saying you're losing muscle mass, so like if you're fasting and you're doing intermittent fasting or even a 2 or 3 day fast, you're not going to lose muscle mass because your body has enough fat it's going to take from that. Your body was divinely designed, and he didn't design us so the second you get the throwing up bug and you don't eat for 18 hours or 26 hours that you're going to lose muscle mass. We're talking about not building muscle. Okay. I'm not talking about fasting and you need energy so you break down muscle.
Well, and during fasting too, you have the mitophagy and the autophagy.
Right.
So your body is going through and it's actually cannibalizing all of the old dead cells in your body.
Yes.
Also, as you're transitioning into the, I don't know the exact pathophysiology behind it or physiology behind it, but when you're changing your gut microbiome, as those probiotics begin to die off and you begin replacing them with enzymes and whatnot, I know your body can consume those as well.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the bottom line is that your body doesn't have to tap into muscle in order to create protein that it needs.
Right. We're just talking about not actively building muscle.
Yeah.
But I've told this story before at a What's for Dinner, but when we were in our 20s, we used to hang out with a certain female, and I met her at the Y one night, and she had been yo-yo dieting her whole life. She had just started Jenny Craig. And so I invited her to the Y. She showed up, but she told me she's not going to work out. And I was like, why? And she said, because they told me I can't work out for the first 6 to 8 weeks while I'm on the diet.
Yep.
Because if you work out and put on muscle, you're going to gain some weight. Then they don't look as good.
Yeah.
You didn't lose as much.
Yeah. This is a big deal why when you put people on hormones, we offer the body composition analysis because, some women complain, oh, I'm getting on hormones, I'm putting on weight.
Yeah.
Now, some of it's water weight for some women and some of it's other stuff too. But for the vast majority of them, they're putting on lean muscle because they're taking estrogen and testosterone.
Yeah.
And so testosterone is anabolic. So they're putting on lean muscle and they're like, well, I'm putting on weight. Why am I putting on weight? Well, when we do a body composition analysis, we can show them where the weight is. So this is why we tell people, get rid of your scale. Don't chase the scale.
It's a liar.
It's detrimental to you. It'll sabotage the process. If you're going to do any kind of monitoring like that, monitor your body composition. Know how much bone density you have. Know how much muscle you have. How much water mass you have. How much fat you have.
Yeah.
We want to lose fat, not lose weight. So just retrain your thinking. I don't want to lose weight. I want to lose fat.
Yes. And her A1C was 5.6. That's the diabetic marker for corporate medicine. Once you get diagnosed using that, you've been sick a long time. She's 5.6. 5.7 is prediabetes. So at 44, you're already on this precipice and you're about to go over, and then you can just fall over into this bad snowball health effect if we don't change it now. 44 is so young to turn it all around.
Yeah.
Younger than me at 53 to turn it around, or 63 to turn it around.
Yeah, for sure. So, not that that's too late to start. Never too late to start.
Never too late to start. But
yeah,
44 is young.
It sure is. Anything else?
Well, how much time is there?
We're at about 10 minutes.
Okay. It's probably fine.
Oh, and there's the Georgia's on right now.
Oh!
On and she
Yay, thanks, Georgia.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
I was just going to mention too, my last patient of the day is starting to have blood pressure issues, and when I'm talking to him about sugar, you know, everyone's like, I don't eat sugar. And, but then it came out, what I eat: sweet potato, I eat rice, I eat crackers, I eat popcorn.
Yeah. All those hidden carbohydrates.
Yeah, they like to go to the Mexican restaurant. I'm like, listen, if you're trying to do this, and especially if you're early on, you can't go to Mexican restaurants because there's chips and salsa slapped in front of you, never ending. It just keeps coming and keeps coming. It is so hard to say no to. So some restaurants are worse than others.
I sent you a screenshot today of USDA is potentially going to lower the amount of protein you need from meats and increase the amount of protein you get from legumes, so things like beans and whatnot. And so what they're basically doing is just making you have more carbohydrates and more plant-based proteins. Remember, plant-based is very ineffective for most people for protein. It's not bioavailable, so you can take a protein in a plant, you can literally cut it in half, or cut the protein quantity on the nutrition label in half when you eat a plant-based protein. And that's all because that's all you can absorb. So anyway, there's a lot working against us is all I'm saying, you know, so we have to kind of like tread through all this, this background noise.
And you have to figure out what works for you.
Yes.
So experiment. But I had another patient recently that I felt like they were excuses to not change. So then she went and looked at a whole bunch of people, what they're doing, and then tried all that. And it's just like, you know, pick something and try it for 30, 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
And go all in. And you might eat 3 meals a day. We only eat 1 to 2. I mean, you might eat chicken as your primary beef.
You might be able to do dairy, whereas other people can't. You know,
Some people can't. So,
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, is that all? Are you good, hon? All right, guys. Well, tell us what you're having for dinner. Let us know if you have any questions, and we love you. And we'll see you next time. God bless you all.
Bye.